Okay, so before we do start today's video, if you're like, Simon, your voice sounds weird, I had to have some dental work, okay? This side of my mouth is completely numb. I kind of sound like Lilo and Stitch. Here's the deal. I also have bad news for you. If you were a fan in the Attitude Era and you used to love all these signs you saw in the crowd, well, you're never getting it back. Life has very sadly moved on. Social media wouldn't be able to handle it anyway because they'd be moaning about that. That's why today I do want to turn the clock back. Because really, some of the phrases that were written on some famous signs, well, they were not thought through at all. I mean, number 10, if this guy wins, we riot. So do you know what happens if you riot at a public event? Well, I looked into UK law. You can get up to 10 years in prison and an unlimited fine, which means the judge can say you've got to pay £6.2 million and you're stuck with this. So is that really what you want just because John Cena was victorious? Now, we all remember this one. It came from the ECW One Night Stand show. And look, at the time, I remember seeing it being like, that's pretty funny. Though I didn't turn over here, I was watching it by myself. It has become a mainstay in 2024, though, to the point if you do feel so strongly the other individual in a predetermined contest should win, you bring a sign and you threaten everyone that you're going to smash the place up. It's also fun when a non-wrestling fan sees this because they're totally baffled, but that kind of makes it more fun. You just have to go, yeah, we're all insane. Also, what do these folk know? Absolutely nothing. I mean, how to abide by the law? Who needs that? Number 9, fight forever. Are you mad? Because do you know how long forever is? It would mean you could die and come back to life, die and come back to life, and the two people you saw fighting when you passed away first time, they'd still be going at it. I can't actually pinpoint when this did take off, but once again in 2024, it essentially happens when two wrestlers are having such a good match, the fans decide, well, not only are we going to chant fight forever, but a damn sign always pops up. How did they know? It's also really selfish of all of us because we're saying, you keep going for my entertainment, health be damned. I'd also like to know where the tipping point is, because when are they allowed to stop? Like, is it a day? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it a year? And what actually finishes this? I mean, you'd have to shoot someone. It's definitely a bad plan though, so I think we should kind of change in the future. So if you are planning to bring a sign like this, if you could change it to, please fight for the allocated amount of minutes, well, I for one would really appreciate it. Number 8, Roman is a wank pheasant. I mean, where the hell do we even begin with this? I guess what I suppose I'll do, well, you can see it here, is I'll take the information and I'll just break it down. So we do know that Roman refers to Roman Reigns, and yes, this popped up during his babyface run, which now in hindsight is even more stupid. Look how much better he is as the tribal chief. I can only use UK language to explain the next bit too. I'm not even sure if I can say this, maybe I'll just be bleeped. But to wank is to, well, masturbate. Okay. Finally, a pheasant is an animal, so good grief, people, what are you doing? How did we get here? This sign never needs to come back again. Also, it's illegal and you'll go to jail. Number 7, this is awesome. Admittedly, this is more of a chant than a sign, but I have seen them before, and you know what? Good for you. Positive wrestling for life. The problem is wrestling fans do have problem with their hands. They do attend live shows. So you can be having a very mediocre match. All of a sudden, this thing goes flying in the air. So it's basically a lie. It also means that if you did have something like Doink versus Duke the Dumpster Drosy, somebody could be saying, this is awesome. And it's only because they want their side to be on TV. You want your 5 minutes. All you're doing, though, is diluting all of this. So now we need to come up with another word. Is it awesome, spectacular, wonderful, scramblapalus, which I just made up? It just shows that we're not taking this seriously, so everybody needs to calm down. This is another one where I can give you an alternative. It can just say, this match is doing what I hoped it would do. I mean, it doesn't really roll off the tongue. Deal with it. Number 6, Final Fantasy VIII is filth. I mean, you're not wrong, and I'd throw Final Fantasy X in there too, mostly because it has bad jet pointing. Don't come at me. I was so annoyed at that game after I died at a boss, and it sent me back like 42 hours. I calmly took the disc out of the PS2, and I snapped it. I wasn't even mad, I just knew. The reason you do not want to do this, though, and the reason you are going to get in trouble, is because you do not want to incite the rage of a Final Fantasy fan. But even if I joke that Final Fantasy VII is underrated, I would all of a sudden be dead. Which means I am dead, so now this is the ghost of Simon Miller talking to you. What'd I tell you? There is a major crossover between wrestling and video games though, so just be careful when you do bring these ones to events, because you are going to annoy a lot of people. Number 5, this is a sign, which is usually accompanied with something like, ha ha, the guy behind me can't see. I mean, that's just me. For one, people on social media will see this and they think you're an idiot, but also, again, it's just not being very nice. Why would you want somebody to go out of their way and spend hundreds of pounds of a ticket when a piece of card goes, you ain't seeing that? I mean, have you seen ticket prices for shows these days? you should be arrested for theft. This got so out of control, they now actually added it into the video game. So once again, this is just a warning. If you do throw this one up in the air, I mean, it's bleeding obvious for one, but also you're going to get wrecked. Let's just decide as a group to let people see the wrestling. I mean, really, that is the very least we can do. Number 4, why is your hair so wet? The risk here is that a wrestler could see this and walk up to you and punch you right in the face. That's not what we're going for. The better news is that it's quite funny, but also it's a great question. Why do wrestlers pour so much water on themselves? And it's not just the guys that have long hair. Stone Cold, Steve Austin used to do this all the time. I'll be honest with you. Before I wrestle, I also get a bottle of water and just pour it all over me. I mean, what do I think it's going to achieve? The real issue is that nobody has ever answered this, but I can do it right now, especially if you do have longer hair. Obviously, I can't relate to that. It just makes you look cooler. Don't shoot the messenger. It does go bad sometimes as well, because I remember the first time I saw Bret Hart had the slick hair. Then I was watching him in a documentary or whatever, and his hair was dry, and it was all poofy. It was all like thick and stuff. Didn't look anywhere near as good. Quite a sad panda. Now, this one was excellent on a lot of levels, because the two women that decided to bring this to a Ring of Honor show did it on a whiteboard. Meaning when Bryan Danielson came out, he saw this, and he just rubbed it off. Genuinely is one of my favorite moments ever. Furthermore, he did this so angrily that it made it even funnier. And also, he wasn't that white. It's not like he was shameless or something. He did have somewhat of a tan. It's also a shame this whiteboard idea didn't take off all over the place, although I can understand why. You'd smuggle it into a show, and can you imagine what some people would write on these things? It would be borderline offensive. As always, you ruined it for the rest of us. Number 2, if Cena wins, we can play online. And the only reason people will get mad at you for this is because you're being honest. Like, we all prefer the Riot version, but I told you about that. And also, this one speaks the truth. That's all we ever do. I did like the wrestling. Where's my keyboard? I mean, sometimes people even complain online about things they don't need to complain about. I stare off into the distance and I lose it. I do like a very to-the-point sign, though. So once again, if somebody wants to come up with like something that says it would be pleasant if this guy won, or I have a feeling shenanigans are afoot, well, I would be your biggest fan. For those that don't know as well, this was of course from that period where John Cena just won all of the time. The worst being that Nexus feud. Not entirely sure I'm over it. What the hell were we thinking? Number 1, Master Chief for Smash. Out of context, this makes no sense. Why I love it so. If you do know though, yeah, the fans have been asking this for years. They want the Master Chief in Super Smash Brothers. But I tell you, you ain't getting it. Now really, all companies should get together and make this happen because Smash Brothers is the best of the Ultimate Fighters. And here we are in 2024, and we're still getting copycats, and let's just call a spade a spade. The copycats aren't as good. Here is the deal though, given that Microsoft and Activision have just merged, and they're desperate to be all like, oh hi, we're so inclusive, we want everyone to work with us. Maybe this is something they can do, because again, to them, what is it? It's absolutely nothing. When the next Smash Brothers does roll around, may be able to get the Master Chief. I, for one, will then thank this sign for starting this movement, but until that day, yeah, you're just pissing off the fanboys, because they want this more than air. In many ways, they're probably not going to get it. So they will come for you, and they will come for you hard. Terrible choice of words. Now, of course, please do click the video on the screen to continue on your What Culture adventure. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. And hey, down in those comments, why don't you share your own favorite sign, especially those ones that are going to get people in trouble? Because why wouldn't we want that? And I have to go rest my mouth, so I can't even talk properly. Goodbye.